The night arrives, as it always does, a soft blanket of silence intended to bring rest to a weary world. Outside your window, the city's hum may have softened to a distant whisper. The moon may be casting a gentle, silver light onto your floor, and all seems to be at peace. But inside, within the vast, quiet space of your own mind, a storm might be raging. The body is tired, craving the release of sleep. Yet the mind refuses to surrender. It races, unbidden, through the corridors of yesterday, replaying conversations, dissecting mistakes, lingering on regrets. Then, it leaps forward into tomorrow, constructing elaborate plans, worrying about outcomes that have not yet come to pass, and wrestling with a long list of anxieties, both large and small. There is a profound loneliness in this state, a feeling of being trapped in a cycle of restless thoughts, while the precious hours of renewal slip away. One by one, this experience, this feeling of being mentally besieged when you should be at peace, is not a personal failing. It is not a sign of weakness. It is, in many ways, the signature affliction of our modern age. We live in a world that constantly stokes a fire of wanting, a deep and persistent thirst for something more. More success, more possessions, more validation, more experiences. We are taught to look for happiness outside of ourselves, believing it is a destination we will reach if we just try a little harder, achieve a little more, or acquire the next thing. But this path is a mirage, an endless chase that only deepens the feeling of lack. It is the very source of our disquiet, the root of our sleepless nights. This subtle but pervasive feeling that we are not quite whole, that something is fundamentally missing. But what if the solution was not to add something new, but to see what is already there with new eyes? What if the key to unlocking the peace you so deeply crave was not found in the external world, but was already in your possession, waiting to be discovered? Tonight, we will embark on a journey together, a gentle exploration of an ancient and profound wisdom. We will turn our attention to a practice that has been taught by the wise for millennia, a quiet power that can soothe the agitated mind and open the heart to a new kind of joy. This practice is the art of cultivating gratitude, not as a mere platitude, not as a simple thank you, but as a deep, transformative way of being. It is the gentle key that can unlock the cage of restless thought and guide you softly, not into a battle with your mind, but into a warm embrace with the present moment, allowing you to finally find the deep, restorative sleep and the genuine peace you deserve. To begin this journey, we must first clear the ground. We must look at the word gratitude itself, a word we use so often that its true depth has been worn smooth, its meaning made shallow by common use. In our daily lives, gratitude is often a transaction, a polite formula we recite. Someone holds a door for you. You say thank you. You receive a gift. You write a thank you note. This is the gratitude of etiquette, a social lubricant that keeps the machinery of our interactions running smoothly. It is good. It is necessary. But it is not the kind of gratitude that can heal a restless mind or bring joy to a weary heart. This transactional gratitude is conditional. It depends entirely on receiving something we perceive as positive. It is a response to an external event, and as such, its presence in our lives is fleeting and unreliable. dependent on the whims of fortune and the actions of others. It comes and goes, leaving us just as we were before. The wisdom of the Buddha, however, points to a much deeper, more radical form of gratitude. It is a gratitude that is not an action, but a state of awareness. It is not a response, but a way of seeing. It is a quiet, unconditional recognition of the simple, profound fact of what is. This is the forgotten language of the heart. It is the ability to look at the chair you are sitting on, not as a mere object for your use, but to feel a subtle sense of appreciation for the wood that grew, the hands that crafted it, and the simple, solid support it offers you in this very moment. It is to drink a glass of water and feel gratitude not just for the quenching of your thirst, but for the clouds, the rain, the rivers, the complex systems that brought this clean, life-giving liquid to your lips. This gratitude asks for nothing. It is not dependent on gain. It is a gentle, mindful acknowledgement of the intricate web of existence that supports us, moment by moment, breath by breath. It is a silent thank you whispered to the air that fills your lungs, to the light that allows your eyes to see, to the silence between sounds that allows for peace. This is not the gratitude of getting, but the gratitude of being. To understand its power, we must distinguish between two types of happiness. The first is what our society champions: hedonic happiness. This is the happiness of pleasure, of excitement, of achieving a goal. It's the thrill of a new purchase, the pride of a promotion, the warmth of a compliment. These feelings are wonderful, but they are inherently unstable and short-lived. This is the law of the hedonic treadmill. The pleasure fades, and soon we are looking for the next hit, the next achievement, the next purchase to feel good again. We are in a constant state of striving, of chasing, forever believing that true happiness lies just over the next hill. This chase, this constant striving, is exhausting. It is the engine of our anxiety and our sleeplessness. The second type of happiness is what philosophers call eudaimonic well-being. This is a deeper, more stable sense of flourishing that comes not from external events, but from internal cultivation. It is the happiness that arises from living a life of meaning, purpose, connection, and virtue. And at the very heart of this profound well-being lies the practice of gratitude. Gratitude, in its truest sense, steps off the hedonic treadmill entirely. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. It finds richness not in acquiring more, but in appreciating more of what is already present. It is a quiet revolution of the mind, turning away from the endless hunger for more and toward the deep, abiding peace of enough. This is the happiness that lasts. It doesn't spike and crash like the pleasure of a new possession. Instead, it is a gentle, flowing river that nourishes our inner landscape, making it fertile and resilient. Perhaps this sounds like a state of mind reserved for saints and sages, a special quality that one is either born with or not. But this is one of the most liberating truths of the path. Gratitude is not an innate trait, but a trainable skill. It is a muscle of the heart and mind. For many of us, this muscle has been neglected. Our brains, for ancient evolutionary reasons, are wired with a negativity bias. They are like Velcro for bad experiences and Teflon for good ones. This was useful for our ancestors, helping them to remember the location of a predator or a poisonous plant. But in our modern world, this same wiring keeps us stewing in minor frustrations, obsessing over critical comments, and overlooking the countless small wonders that unfold around us every day. Cultivating gratitude is the conscious, gentle work of rewiring this ancient circuitry. Every time you intentionally pause to feel grateful for something, no matter how small, you are creating and strengthening a new neural pathway. It is like forging a new trail in a dense forest. At first, it is difficult. The mind will naturally wander back to its old, well-worn paths of worry and complaint. But with gentle, persiste practice, the new trail becomes clearer, wider, and easier to travel. You are not fighting your mind. You are simply offering it a new, more peaceful direction. You are training your attention, moment by moment, to rest on the good. This practice can be as simple as pausing before a meal to truly see the colors and textures on your plate and acknowledge the journey the food has taken to reach you. It can be the simple act of looking out a window and finding one beautiful thing to appreciate. Each small act is a repetition, a strengthening of that sacred muscle. Through this consistent practice, we cultivate what can be called a grateful heart. A grateful heart is a state of being. It is an inner disposition that is no longer wholly dependent on the shifting sands of external circumstance. It is an internal sanctuary of warmth and openness. This does not mean that a person with a grateful heart never feels sadness, anger, or pain. Life will always bring challenges. The difference is that these difficult emotions are no longer the entire story. They are seen as passing weather, clouds moving through a vast, open sky of awareness. The sky itself, this background of gentle appreciation, remains. There is a story of an old Zen master that illustrates this beautifully. He lived in a simple hut at the edge of a village. One day, a wealthy merchant, seeking to gain merit, brought him a treasure chest filled with gold, silks, and precious jade. The merchant presented the gift with great ceremony. The master simply bowed his head slightly and said, "Thank you." The merchant was taken aback, expecting more effusive joy, but he left, feeling perplexed. A few weeks later, a rumor spread through the village that the master was a fraud, a man whose family had fallen on hard times. Believing the rumor, stormed to the master's hut. He stood before the old man and hurled insults at him, calling him a charlatan and a thief. His face red with rage, the master listened patiently, his expression calm and serene. When the man had finally exhausted his anger and fell silent, the master simply bowed his head slightly and said, "Thank you." The angry man was utterly baffled. "First you thank someone for gold and jade. Now you thank me for insults. What is wrong with you?" he sputtered. The master looked at him with gentle eyes. "A person can only offer what they have," he said softly. The merchant offered what he had, and I acknowledged his offering. "You have come today and offered me your anger and your insults. These are your offerings. But if I do not accept them, to whom do they still belong?" This is the essence of a grateful heart. It is a state of such profound inner stability and acceptance that it is not shaken by the gifts or the curses of the world. Its thank you is not for the content of the experience, but for the experience itself. It is a recognition of the unfolding of life, a deep trust in the flow of existence. It is a heart that has found its home in the present moment, And in that home, it has found a peace that cannot be given and cannot be taken away. This is the gratitude we seek to cultivate. It is the firm ground upon which we can build a life of joy and rest. But before we can build, we must first understand the powerful forces within us that seek to pull us back into the world of wanting, into the shadow of the ever-hungry mind. Having understood the profound nature of gratitude as a state of aware being, a quiet revolution of the heart, a natural question arises: if this state is so beneficial, so deeply nourishing, why does it feel so elusive? Why is our default setting so often one of complaint, worry, and dissatisfaction? We may resolve in the morning to be grateful, only to find ourselves, by noon, irritated by traffic, frustrated with a colleague, or consumed by a desire for something we do not have. The answer lies in understanding the nature of the mind itself, in turning to face a powerful, ancient force that lives within each of us. To cultivate a garden, you must first know the weeds. To cultivate gratitude, we must first understand the ungrateful mind. At the very core of the Buddhist understanding of the human condition is the concept of dukkha. This Pali word is often translated as suffering, but its meaning is far more subtle and pervasive. It is not just about big tragedies like loss or illness. More often, dukkha is a subtle, background hum of dissatisfaction that permeates our lives. It's a feeling that things are not quite right, a sense of incompleteness. On itch, you can't quite scratch. It is the inherent instability of pleasant experiences and the unavoidable reality of unpleasant ones. It is this fundamental unease that keeps the mind in a state of constant restlessness, always seeking security, pleasure, and validation from a world that is, by its very nature, impermanent and unpredictable. The ungrateful mind is a direct manifestation of dukkha. It is a mind that is uncomfortable with the present moment as it is, because the present moment is never perfect, never completely secure, and so it scans the horizon, looking for what is wrong, what is missing, what could be better. It believes, mistakenly, that if it can just fix, acquire, or arrange the external world perfectly, this underlying feeling of dissatisfaction will finally go away. This is the grand illusion that keeps us trapped. Ancient Buddhist teachings offer a powerful and vivid metaphor for this state of mind: the hungry ghost, or preta. In this cosmology, the realm of the hungry ghosts is a place of perpetual, agonizing want. These beings are depicted with enormous, distended bellies, signifying a vast and bottomless hunger. Yet, they have necks as thin as a needle's eye, and mouths no bigger than a pinhole. Consequently, no matter how much they try to consume, they can never be satiated. The very act of trying to ease their hunger is itself a source of immense pain and frustration. Food turns to fire and water to filth as they try to consume it. This is not a literal monster to be feared, but a profoundly accurate psychological portrait of a mind caught in the grip of craving. The hungry ghost lives within all of us. It is the part of you that endlessly scrolls through social media, feeling a pang of envy at someone else's vacation, a sense of inadequacy about your own life, even as you are surrounded by blessings. It is the voice that whispers, "If only I had that car, that house, that relationship, then I would be happy." It is the relentless drive for the next promotion, the next purchase, the next like, the next fleeting moment of validation. The hungry ghost mind cannot rest in gratitude because its entire nature is defined by lack. It is blind to the feast that is already on the table because it is pathologically obsessed with the single crumb it does not possess. It is a state of being that is, by its very definition, ungrateful, because gratitude is the feeling of fullness, and the hungry ghost can only feel emptiness. It is a painful and exhausting way to live, a self-imposed prison of perpetual want. This tendency is not a moral failing. It is, in part, a deep biological inheritance. Our brains are not designed for happiness. They are designed for survival. For our distant ancestors living on the savannah, survival depended on being acutely aware of threats. The mind that obsessed over the one rustle in the grass that might be a lion was far more likely to pass on its genes than the mind that was blissfully admiring the sunset. The brain that remembered the taste of the one poisonous berry in the forest was more likely to survive than the brain that only remembered the 1,000 sweet ones. We are the descendants of the warriors. Our minds evolved with a powerful negativity bias. They are like Velcro for negative experiences, sticking to them, analyzing them, learning from them. And they are like Teflon for positive experiences. The moments of joy, beauty, and peace often slide right off, barely registering. This ancient survival mechanism, once essentiel, now runs on overdrive in our relatively safe modern world, causing us to fixate on minor slights, ruminate on past mistakes, and live in a constant, low-grade state of anxiety about the future. It is no wonder, then, that gratitude feels like swimming upstream against a powerful current. Our very biology predisposes us to notice what is wrong, and if this internal, biological wiring weren't challenging enough, our entire external world has been constructed to exploit and amplify this very tendency. Modern consumer culture is a massive engine designed to fuel the hungry ghost within. Advertisements do not work by showing you how wonderful your life is. They work by creating a sense of lack, by pointing out a problem you didn't even know you had, and then offering their product as the magical solution. Social media platforms, with their curated highlight reels of other people's lives, function as vast comparison machines, constantly feeding our innate tendency to measure ourselves against others and find ourselves wanting. Imagine a man who has achieved everything the world deems valuable. He has immense wealth, a portfolio of successful businesses, homes in beautiful locations, and the admiration of many. He can buy any object, travel to any destination, and command the attention of powerful people. From the outside, his life appears to be a triumph. Yet, he sleeps poorly. He feels a persistent emptiness, a gnawing anxiety that he cannot name. He is irritable with his family and perpetually bored. His vast fortune has not filled the void in his enormous, hungry belly. He is a perfect modern portrait of a hungry ghost. He has spent his entire life feeding a hunger that cannot be satisfied with external things. The problem was never the size of his bank account, but the state of his mind. He has mastered the world, but he has never learned to be content with what he has. He has never cultivated a grateful heart. And so, we see that the ungrateful mind is not a simple flaw, but a powerful confluence of our deepest conditioning. It is the dukkha, the background hum of dissatisfaction inherent in existence. It is the preta, the insatiable ghost of craving that lives within our psyche. It is the ancient negativity bias, the survival software hardwired into our brains, and it is relentlessly fed and amplified by the world we have built. To stand against such a force seems like a futile task. To fight it directly is to give it more energy. To hate it is to add another layer of suffering. The path of wisdom does not lie in fighting this ghost, but in understanding it. The first, most crucial step in taming the hungry ghost is to learn to see it. It thrives in the darkness of mindless reaction, in the shadows of unconscious habit. Its power begins to wane the moment we can look upon it with a calm, steady awareness. The antidote to its frantic hunger is a gentle, non-judgmental attention, and this brings us to the indispensable ally of gratitude, the gentle lantern that can illuminate the darkest corners of our mind. The practice of mindfulness. We have stood at the edge of the abyss, and we have looked upon the face of the hungry ghost, that insatiable part of ourselves that is forever seeking and never finding. We have named it. We have understood its origins in our biology and its amplification in our culture. Seeing it is the first step. But how do we work with such a powerful, deeply ingrained force? To fight it is to become entangled in its struggle. To hate it is to feed it with more negativity. The path of wisdom offers a different way, a method that is profound in its simplicity and radical in its gentleness. We do not fight the ghost. We do not run from it. We simply, and with great kindness, turn on a light. That light, that gentle, illuminating beam of awareness, is the practice of mindfulness. It is the indispensable ally of gratitude, the quiet observer that can set us free. So what is mindfulness? The word is used so frequently now. It risks losing its meaning, becoming just another wellness trend. But at its core, mindfulness is a precise and profound way of relating to our own experience. The most classic definition describes it as paying attention, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. Let us unpack these simple words, for within them lies a universe of freedom. Paying attention is the first step. It is the conscious and deliberate act of directing your awareness, of choosing where you place the flashlight of your consciousness, rather than letting it flicker randomly, pulled here and there by every passing thought, sound, or sensation. On purpose means that this is an intentional act. We are actively choosing to wake up from the dream of our habitual thinking, to step out of autopilot. In the present moment is the anchor. The hungry ghost thrives in only two places: the past, with its endless landscape of regrets and resentments, and the future, with its infinite horizons of anxiety and craving. The one place the ghost cannot survive is the simple, unadorned reality of the here and now. When you bring your full attention to the feeling of your feet on the floor, to the sound of rain against the window, to the physical sensation of your own breathing, you are yanking the mind out of the murky realms of past and future and anchoring it in the solid ground of the present. This is the only place where life is actually happening. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, non-judgmentally. This is the secret ingredient, the true alchemy of the practice. The untrained mind is a relentless judging machine. It labels every experience good, bad. I want this. I don't want that. This is right. This is wrong. This constant judgment is the fuel for the hungry ghost's fire. Mindfulness invites us to do something extraordinary, to simply observe our experience without the layer of judgment, To notice a thought of anxiety arise without condemning ourselves for being anxious. To feel a wave of sadness without believing we are a sad person. To observe our thoughts and feelings as if they were clouds passing through the vast, open sky of our awareness. They are not us. They are simply events passing through. This non-judgmental stance is an act of profound self-compassion. It starves the hungry ghost of its drama and creates a space of quiet acceptance. Herein lies the inseparable link between mindfulness and gratitude. It is breathtakingly simple. You cannot be grateful for something that you are not aware of. How can you appreciate the intricate beauty of a flower if your mind is lost in a work email you need to send tomorrow? How can you feel gratitude for the love in a friend's voice if you are simultaneously replaying an argument from last week? Gratitude is not an intellectual idea. It is a felt sense. It arises from direct contact with the reality of the present moment. Mindfulness is the faculty that allows for this contact. Without it, we live our lives as though behind a thick veil of thought. We experience our own stories about life, rather than life itself. We drink a cup of coffee while thinking about our to-do list. The coffee is gone, and we never tasted it. We walk through a park while planning our evening. The walk is over, and we never saw the light filtering through the leaves. We live in a world of ghosts and shadows, projections of our own mind. Mindfulness gently pulls back this veil. It invites us to taste the coffee, to see the light, to truly arrive in our own lives. And when we arrive, when we make direct contact with the simple fabric of our existence, gratitude is the natural, spontaneous response of the heart. Imagine your mind is a fast-flowing, muddy river. It is turbulent with thoughts, emotions, plans, and worries. In this state, the water is so opaque that you cannot see what lies within or beneath it. This is the state of mindlessness, of being lost in thought. Practicing mindfulness is like finding a quiet eddy by the riverbank. It doesn't try to stop the mighty river of thought that would be impossible and create more struggle. Instead, it creates a small area of stillness. By focusing our attention on an anchor like the breath, we allow the frantic flow to slow down, just for a moment. And as the water slows, the mud begins to settle. The water becomes clear. For the first time, we can see the smooth, colorful pebbles on the riverbed. We can see the small fish darting about. We can see the reflection of the sky on the water's surface. These things were always there, but they were completely obscured by the turbulence. This clarity, this space, is the birthplace of gratitude. In the stillness, we begin to notice the hundreds of small, simple blessings that were always present, but which we were too distracted to see. Let us try this now, just for a moment. If you feel comfortable, you can gently close your eyes, or simply lower your gaze. There is nothing to achieve, nothing to force. Simply bring your attention to the fact that you are breathing. Don't try to change your breath in any way. Just observe it. Feel the sensation of the cool air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs. Feel the gentle rise of your chest and belly, and then feel the release, the letting go. As the warm air leaves your body, each breath is a gift. This in-breath is a receiving of life, of energy from the world. This out-breath is a letting go, a release of what is no longer needed. It is the rhythm of life itself, happening right here, within you. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to deserve it. It is simply given. Can you feel a flicker of appreciation for this simple, life-sustaining gift? This is the meeting point of mindfulness and gratitude. The great Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh often spoke of this in the simplest of terms. Using the example of drinking a cup of tea, he said that we often drink our tea in a state of distraction. We are not drinking the tea, we are drinking our own projects, our own worries. He encouraged his students to drink their tea as if it were the most important thing in the world, to hold the cup and be aware of its warmth in their hands, to notice the color and clarity of the liquid, to bring it to their lips and be aware of the aroma, and to take a sip and truly, fully taste the tea. In that moment of being completely present with your cup of tea, you are truly alive. And from that aliveness, a simple gratitude arises for the tea, for the water, for the heat, for the hands that prepared it, for the quiet moment of peace. This is how we weave mindfulness into the fabric of our day. It is not about sitting on a cushion for hours. It is about bringing a mindful, grateful attention to the simple acts of living. Mindfulness, therefore, is the foundational practice. It is the gentle observer that watches the hungry ghost without judgment, robbing it of its power. It is the anchor that pulls us from the stormy seas of past and future into the calm harbor of the present. It is the lens that clarifies our vision, allowing us to see the world as it truly is, filled with countless overlooked wonders. With this foundation of clear seeing now established, with the lantern of mindfulness now lit in our hands, we are ready to take the next step. We are ready to explore the beautiful and powerful alchemy that occurs when this clear-sighted awareness meets the heart, and how that meeting transforms the raw material of our lives into the pure gold of joy. With the gentle light of mindfulness in our hands, we have learned to see the world and our own minds with a new clarity. We have observed the restless striving of the hungry ghost without judgment, and in doing so, have taken the first step towards freedom. But seeing is only the beginning. The next step is a form of sacred alchemy, a process of profound transformation that takes place in the very heart of our being. This is where gratitude reveals its true power, not just as a way of seeing, but as a force that actively creates joy. It is the philosopher's stone that does not turn lead into literal gold, but transforms the common, and often difficult, material of our daily lives into the radiant, felt experience of bliss. The first stage of this alchemy is a simple but revolutionary shift in focus. The ungrateful mind, the hungry ghost, is conditioned to operate from a perspective of scarcity. It is a master at scanning any situation and immediately identifying what is wrong, what is missing, what is lacking. You could be looking at a beautiful, vast mosaic, and the mind of lack will fixate on the 2 or 3 tiles that are missing, declaring the entire masterpiece a failure. You could have a day filled with small moments of peace and connection, but the mind will obsess over the one frustrating interaction, allowing it to poison the memory of the entire day. This is the trance of lack, and it is the source of immense, self-inflicted suffering. Gratitude is the act of intentionally breaking this trance. It is the conscious choice to withdraw your attention from the missing tiles and instead to allow your gaze to rest upon the stunning, intricate pattern that is already there. This is not an act of denial. It is not about pretending the missing tiles don't exist, or that the frustrating interaction didn't happen. The pain and imperfection of life are real. Gratitude does not ask you to ignore them. It asks you to see them as part of a much larger, more complex, and often beautiful whole. It is a shift in proportion. It is the recognition that for every one thing that goes wrong, there are 100 or 1,000 small things that are quietly going right. When you are stuck in traffic, instead of focusing only on the frustration of being late, the grateful mind can choose to notice the comfort of the car seat, the beauty of the song on the radio, the simple fact of having a car to be stuck in, the unexpected gift of a few moments to simply sit and breathe. The situation hasn't changed, but your entire experience of it is transformed. The lead of frustration becomes the gold of a peaceful pause. This is the first miraculous power of gratitude. It changes your world not by altering your circumstances, but by altering your perception. As we practice this fundamental shift, something beautiful begins to happen to the heart. It begins to open and expand. This leads us to the second stage of this alchemy, the cultivation of what is known in the Buddhist tradition as mudita, or sympathetic joy. Mudita is the opposite of envy and jealousy. Envy is the painful feeling that arises when we see another's good fortune and feel that it somehow diminishes our own. It is a primary characteristic of the hungry ghost, which believes that happiness is a limited resource, a zero-sum game. If someone else gets a piece of the pie, that means there is less for me. This belief system contracts the heart and is a potent source of misery. Mudita is the radical antidote. It is the practice of genuinely rejoicing in the happiness, success, and good fortune of others. When you hear that a friend has received a promotion, or that a stranger has won an award, or even when you see a family laughing together in a park, you intentionally open your heart and feel happy for them. This becomes possible only when you are rooted in a grateful heart, when you have trained your mind to see the abundance in your own life. You no longer perceive another's success as a threat. Their joy does not take anything away from you. Instead, you realize that happiness is not a limited resource at all. It is generative. Their joy adds to the total sum of light in the world, and by rejoicing with them, you get to share in it. Suddenly, you have access to a near infinite source of joy. You no longer have to wait for good things to happen to you in order to feel happy. You can tap into the happiness that is constantly unfolding all over the world. At every moment, the heart, once constricted by envy, now expands to embrace the whole of humanity. This is a profound and blissful liberation. This transformation is not just a poetic or psychological phenomenon, it is a physiological one. Modern neuroscience is now validating what contemplative traditions have known for centuries. The practice of gratitude literally changes the structure and function of your brain. When you consciously cultivate feelings of appreciation, you are stimulating activity in the medial prefrontal cortex, a region of the brain associated with social bonding, empathy, and relieving stress. The regular practice of gratitude has been shown to boost the neurotransmitters dopamine and serotonin, the so-called happiness chemicals, creating a more stable and positive mood over time. Simultaneously, it can help to quiet down the amygdala, the brain's fear and anxiety center, and lower levels of the stress hormone cortisol. This is the neuroalchemy of joy. You are, in a very real sense, resculpting your own brain, creating pathways that are more receptive to peace and joy, and less reactive to stress and negativity. Each moment of gratitude is a gentle act of self-healing, rewiring you for a state of flourishing. Finally, the true test of this alchemical process comes when it meets with genuine suffering. It is easy to be grateful when life is going well, but what about when you are in pain? When you are grieving? When you are facing profound loss or illness? It is here that we must be very clear. Gratitude is not a spiritual bypass. It is not a form of toxic positivity that plasters a fake smile over real pain. True, resilient gratitude is not the absence of suffering, but the ability to find light even in the midst of it. Imagine a beggar, sitting huddled in a cold, damp alleyway after a long and violent storm. He is hungry, his clothes are soaked through, and his body aches. His situation is, by any measure, one of suffering. The storm clouds begin to part, and a single, warm ray of sunshine breaks through, landing upon his face. In that moment, he has a choice. He can remain completely consumed by his misery, ignoring the sunbeam as irrelevant, or he can practice the alchemy of gratitude. He can acknowledge his hunger, his cold, his pain, and at the same time, he can bring his full attention to the feeling of that sunbeam on his cheek. He can allow himself to feel the profound, simple gift of its warmth. He can be grateful for that one small, perfect thing. That gratitude does not magically erase his poverty or his hunger, but for a moment, it brings him joy. It brings him a connection to something beautiful. It reminds him that even in the darkest of alleys, light can still enter. This is the ultimate power of a grateful heart. It is the strength to hold both the sorrow and the joy, the pain and the beauty, and to find, in the midst of it all, a reason to feel bliss. This, then, is the sacred alchemy of joy. It is a process that begins with a simple shift of focus, expands the heart to embrace the world, rewires the very pathways of our brain, and gives us the resilience to find beauty even in our darkest moments. It is the furnace of the heart, where the lead of our everyday struggles and sufferings can be lovingly transformed into the pure, shining gold of genuine, unshakable joy. Now that we understand this transformative principle, the question becomes, where do we begin our practice? The answer is, with the most intimate, immediate, and often most neglected object of our experience, the very temple that houses our spirit, the vessel that carries us through this incredible journey of life. We begin with the body. We have spoken of the grand alchemy of joy, the transformation of lead into gold within the human heart. Now, we must bring this sacred work from the realm of the abstract into the most tangible reality we know. We must begin our practice in the one place we inhabit every single moment of our lives, the place from which we experience the entire universe. We begin with the body. For too long, we may have treated this body as a beast of burden to be whipped into shape, an ornament to be polished for the world's approval, or a source of frustration and shame. The path of gratitude invites a radical shift in this relationship. It asks us to see the body not as a flawed object, but as a sacred temple, an intricate and intelligent ecosystem, the faithful, earthen vessel that carries the precious cargo of our consciousness through the river of time. This is the first, most intimate ground for our practice. Let us be honest with ourselves. For most of us, our relationship with our bodies is complicated and often fraught with conflict. We stand in front of mirrors and our eyes do not see a miracle of biology, but instead are drawn like magnets to every perceived flaw. A relentless inner critic provides a running commentary, cataloging every wrinkle, every pound, every grey hair, every sign of aging or imperfection. We compare our physical form to the impossible, airbrushed ideals projected by our culture, and we invariably find ourselves lacking. We treat our bodies like machines, pushing them past their limits with too little sleep and too much stress, ignoring their subtle signals until they are forced to scream for our attention in the form of illness or injury. We take for granted the silent, ceaseless, miraculous work that goes on within us every second. While we obsess over the superficial shell, this is a profound form of ingratitude, directed at our closest and most loyal companion. To heal this relationship, to make peace with our physical selves, is a revolutionary act of love. So now, let us embark on a journey of reunion. Let us perform a meditation not of critique, but of deep appreciation. If you feel comfortable, allow your body to settle into a position of ease. Either sitting or lying down, gently close your eyes and bring your awareness inward. Let us begin with your feet. Bring your attention to the soles of your feet. Feel their connection to the ground or the surface beneath them. These feet, think of the thousands upon thousands of steps they have taken for you. They have carried you through childhood games, through difficult journeys, through the simple act of walking across a room. They have anchored you to the earth, providing stability and support without ever asking for thanks. Allow a wave of gratitude to wash over your feet, thanking them for their steadfast service. Let this awareness travel up into your legs, your ankles, calves, and thighs. These are your pillars of strength, the instruments of movement that have given you the freedom to explore the world. They have allowed you to run, to dance, to climb, to stand firm. They may sometimes ache, they may feel tired, but they continue to carry you. Feel the life and energy within them, and offer them your silent, heartfelt thanks. Now, bring your attention to the core of your body, your abdomen and chest. Within this space, a silent, intricate symphony is being performed. Your stomach and digestive system, working diligently to transform food into the very energy that sustains you. Your lungs, two great balloons, drawing in the air of the universe and releasing what is no longer needed, in a constant, rhythmic dance. And at the center of it all, your heart. Place a hand over your heart if you wish, and feel for its beat. This faithful drummer, this relentless muscle, has been beating for you since before you were born. It has never taken a holiday, never asked for a day off. It beats while you work, while you play, and most remarkably, it continues to beat faithfully while you sleep, pumping life-giving blood to every single cell of your being. It is the very rhythm of your life. Feel the profound loyalty of your own heart, and let a feeling of awe and gratitude arise for this incredible, unwavering gift. Allow your awareness to flow into your arms and your hands. These hands, think of all they have done. They have built, they have created, they have written, they have typed, they have held the hands of loved ones, they have wiped away tears, your own and others. They have cooked meals, they have planted seeds, they have offered comfort and expressed love in 1,000 silent ways. They are your instruments for interacting with the world. Look upon them in your mind's eye, not with critique for their age or imperfections, but with reverence for all the life they have lived. Thank your hands. Finally, bring your awareness to your neck, your face, and your head. Feel the cluster of senses that reside here, your ears, which have allowed you to hear the laughter of children, the wisdom of teachers, the beauty of music, and the comforting sound of a loved one's voice. Your nose, which has gifted you the scent of rain on dry earth, the fragrance of a flower, the aroma of a delicious meal, and your eyes, these two small orbs, which have witnessed countless sunrises and sunsets. They have seen the faces of those you love most dearly. They have taken in the beauty of art and the majesty of nature. They are your windows to the world. Acknowledge the incredible gift of your senses and offer them your deep gratitude. Now, what of the parts of our bodies that we find difficult? What about the areas of chronic pain, the scars, the illnesses, the parts that do not conform to our ideals? Here, the practice of gratitude deepens into profound compassion. Look upon an old, gnarled tree in a forest. It may have broken branches, a trunk covered in knots and scars, and a twisted form. We do not see this tree as ugly or flawed. We see it as a creature of immense character and resilience. Its scars are not signs of failure. They are a map of its history, a testament to every storm it has weathered, every winter it has survived. It still stands, providing shade and shelter, its roots deep in the earth. Your body is like this tree. Your scars tell stories of healing and survival. Your wrinkles are the map of a life filled with laughter and tears. Your areas of pain are not your enemies, they are wise, if sometimes severe, teachers. They teach you about your limits. They force you to slow down, to practice self-care, to listen more deeply. Every sensation, whether pleasant or unpleasant, is a message from the intelligent ecosystem of your body. The mind of ingratitude resists these messages, fights them, hates them, creating more tension and suffering. The mind of gratitude learns to listen with compassionate curiosity. What is this ache trying to tell me? What does this fatigue ask of me? In this way, our relationship with our body transforms from one of conflict into one of intimate, respectful dialogue. We learn to honor its wisdom, and so we rest in this new relationship. The body is not a problem to be solved or a project to be perfected. It is our home. It is our connection to this earth. It is a mystery of unimaginable complexity and intelligence. To feel gratitude for this body is to come home to yourself. It is to accept yourself exactly as you are in this moment, with all your perceived strengths and weaknesses. It is a profound act of peacemaking. As you sit here, feeling the aliveness within this temple, you may notice that all of this activity, all of this life, is sustained by one simple, constant, rhythmic process. It is a river of life that flows through the temple, ceaselessly, from the moment of your first cry to the moment of your final release. Let us now turn our gentle, grateful attention to this most fundamental process of all, the river of the breath. We have found our home in the temple of the body, cultivating a new relationship of friendship and reverence for this sacred vessel. And within this temple, we have identified the ever-flowing river of life that sustains it. Now, we turn our full, gentle attention to that river itself, the breath. There is nothing more fundamental, more constant, or more intimate to us than our own breathing. And for this very reason, there is nothing we take more for granted. It is the silent, rhythmic wallpaper of our existence, the background music to our lives, so perpetually present that we have become deaf to its profound melody. The practice of gratitude for the breath is the act of consciously turning down the volume of the world's noise and listening, perhaps for the first time, to the simple, sacred song of life itself. The breath is our most faithful companion. It is with you at this very moment, and it has been with you for every single moment of your life. From your first cry to this present inhalation, it asks for nothing. It does not require your thought, your effort, or your permission. While you are busy worrying, planning, striving, and struggling, the breath continues its quiet, humble work of keeping you alive. It is the ultimate gift, offered freely and continuously. To simply pause and become aware of this gift is to step into a state of grace. It is to recognize that the most essential element of our survival is given without condition. This recognition is a powerful antidote to the mind of scarcity, the hungry ghost that believes it must fight and strive for everything it needs. The breath teaches us a different truth. The most precious things are often given freely. Furthermore, the breath is the ultimate anchor to the present moment. Your mind can travel to the furthest reaches of the past, replaying old sorrows and triumphs. It can soar into the infinite possibilities of the future, weaving tapestries of hope and anxiety. But your breath can only be here, now. It cannot take a breath in the past, nor can it exhale in the future. Therefore, whenever you bring your full attention to the physical sensation of your breathing, you are yanking the mind back from its scattered wanderings and planting it firmly in the soil of the present moment. This is an incredible tool, a secret anchor you carry with you at all times. In any moment of overwhelm, anxiety, or distraction, you can return to the breath. It is your home base, your sanctuary, a quiet, safe harbor in the midst of life's storms. It is the bridge back to reality, the thread that leads you out of the labyrinth of your thoughts and back into the simple, direct experience of being alive right now. As we deepen our attention, we begin to notice the poetry and the profound teaching held within the rhythm of the breath itself. It is not a single action, but a sacred, two-part exchange with the universe. First, there is the in-breath. Feel it now. Feel the air entering your body. This is not merely an intake of oxygen. It is an act of receiving. With every inhalation, you are drawing the outside world into yourself. You are breathing in the same air that nourishes the trees, the same air that has been breathed by saints and sages, by your ancestors, by every living being on this planet. It is a profound act of connection, a reminder that you are not separate from the web of life, but an integral part of it. The in-breath is an act of nourishment, of acceptance, of saying a quiet, physical yes to the gift of life in this moment. It is an affirmation of your willingness to be here, to be alive. And then, just as vital, there is the out-breath. Feel the release. Feel the body soften as the air flows back out into the world. This is the act of letting go. With every exhalation, you are releasing what is no longer needed, what is stale, It is a physical embodiment of surrender. The mind loves to hold on to ideas, to grudges, to plans, to control. The out-breath teaches us the wisdom of release. It shows us, moment by moment, the grace in non-attachment. It is a small death, making way for a new birth with the next inhalation. This constant, gentle rhythm of receiving and releasing, of nourishing and surrendering, is the very pulse of existence. To become intimate with this rhythm is to align yourself with the natural flow of life itself. A flow that is not about frantic getting and possessive holding, but about a graceful, open exchange. Let us rest here for a while, in a simple meditation of gratitude for this river of life. Allow your body to be at ease, and simply bring your awareness to the flow of your breathing. There is no need to control it or change it. Just allow it to be as it is. As you breathe in, silently offer a word of thanks. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for this moment of life. Feel the air as a form of liquid light, nourishing every cell in your body. Feel the gratitude for this simple, profound gift of vitality. And as you breathe out, feel a sense of grateful release. Thank you for this opportunity to let go. Feel the muscles soften, the shoulders drop. Feel the release of tension you didn't even know you were carrying. In, a grateful receiving. Out, a grateful letting go. Continue this for a few moments, simply bathing in the immense, quiet grace of your own breathing. This is not a complex practice. It is simply remembering to be thankful for the very process that keeps you alive. In this simple act, we find a teacher of one of life's most profound truths, the truth of impermanence. Or anicca. Look closely at a single breath. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It arises, it lingers for a moment, and then it dissolves, making way for the next. It is a perfect, miniature model of life itself. Nothing is static. Everything is in a constant state of flux, of arising and passing away. Our thoughts, our emotions, our experiences, even our very lives, follow this same pattern. We so often suffer because we try to cling to the pleasant breaths and resist the unpleasant ones. We try to hold on to moments of joy, freezing them in time, and we try to push away moments of sorrow. But the breath teaches us that this is a futile struggle. The only wise way is to allow the entire process to flow, to appreciate each breath for what it is, a temporary, precious moment of aliveness, without desperately clinging to it. It was through this very practice, called anapanasati, or mindfulness of breathing, that the Buddha is said to have reached enlightenment by watching the breath with an unwavering, grateful attention. He saw in its simple rhythm the entire nature of reality. And so, this humble, ever-present breath reveals itself to be so much more than a mechanical process. It is our anchor to the present, our bridge between body and mind, our direct connection to the web of life, our constant teacher of surrender, and our clearest window into the profound truth of impermanence. By cultivating a deep gratitude for this simple, flowing river, we find a wellspring of peace and wisdom that is always available to us. No matter the circumstances of our outer lives, we have turned inward to the temple of the body and the river of the breath, and we have found a deep and resilient source of peace. Now, strengthened by this inner refuge, we are ready to take on one of the greatest challenges of the heart, the practice of extending this gratitude outward into the complex and often difficult world of our relationships with others. Having journeyed inward to the quiet temple of the body and the flowing river of the breath, we have cultivated a sanctuary of inner peace. We have discovered a wellspring of gratitude that is not dependent on the outside world. But this inner peace is not a fragile treasure to be hidden away in a fortress, shielded from the complexities of life. It is a foundation. It is the training ground from which we can engage with the world with greater wisdom and a more resilient heart. Now, we must take the strength we have found in solitude and bring it to the ultimate testing ground, our relationships with other people. Specifically, we turn our attention to one of the most advanced and transformative practices on the spiritual path, finding gratitude for the difficult people in our lives. At first, this idea can sound absurd, even offensive. Why on earth should we be grateful for the person who betrayed our trust, the colleague who undermines our work, the family member who fills us with frustration, or the stranger whose rudeness ruins our day? Our natural instinct is to resist, to resent, to blame, and to wish them away. The path of gratitude does not deny the validity of these feelings. It does not ask you to pretend that hurt doesn't hurt. Instead, it offers a radical new perspective. It invites us to see these challenging individuals not as adversaries, but as our most powerful, if unwitting, spiritual teachers. They arrive in our lives, often uninvited, to deliver a curriculum that we would never choose for ourselves, but which contains the very lessons we need most for our own liberation. The first and most profound lesson these difficult teachers offer us is the lesson of the mirror. When someone provokes a strong emotional reaction in us, a surge of intense anger, a wave of deep-seated insecurity, a pang of visceral jealousy, it is often because they are reflecting back to us an unhealed part of ourselves. They are, in effect, pushing buttons that we may not have even known we had. The difficult person is the messenger. The message itself is about our own inner landscape. If you find yourself enraged by someone's arrogance, for instance, a gentle inquiry might reveal a hidden fear of not being seen or valued in your own life. If you are deeply irritated by someone's perceived laziness, it might shine a light on your own relentless inner taskmaster and your inability to rest. The difficult person is a mirror showing you your own shadow, the disowned parts of your personality that you have pushed into the darkness. The work, then, is not to try and fix the mirror or shatter it. The work is to look into it with courage and compassion and ask, what is this person showing me about myself? Where am I not yet free from this perspective? The person is no longer just a source of pain, but a valuable informant, providing a precise map to the areas of your own heart that are calling out for healing and attention. Beyond the lesson of the mirror, these challenging individuals teach us a curriculum of essential human virtues. Easy people do not teach us patience. It is the person who moves slowly, who misunderstands us repeatedly, who holds stubbornly to a different viewpoint, who provides the grindstone upon which the blade of our patience is sharpened. Easy people do not teach us compassion in its deepest sense. It is when we are faced with someone acting out of their own pain, their own ignorance, their own deep-seated suffering, that we are challenged to look beyond their abrasive surface. We are invited to see that hurt people, that their difficult behavior is often a desperate cry from their own inner hungry ghost. This doesn't excuse their actions, but it allows our heart to soften, to move from a place of cold judgment to one of warm, sorrowful understanding, or karuna, furthermore, and this is vitally important. Difficult people are often our greatest teachers in the art of setting healthy boundaries. Gratitude for a difficult teacher does not mean becoming a doormat. It does not mean you must endure abuse, disrespect, or constant negativity. Often, the most compassionate and grateful response is to say no with clarity and firmness. The lesson may be to learn how to protect your own energy, to honor your own well-being, to lovingly remove yourself from a toxic dynamic. Learning to set a boundary without anger or hatred, but from a place of self-respect, is a profound spiritual accomplishment. The difficult person provides the necessary catalyst for this crucial life skill. They teach us how to care for ourselves, to aid us in this challenging work. The Buddhist tradition offers the practice of metta, or loving-kindness meditation. In this practice, we intentionally cultivate feelings of goodwill and warmth, and radiate them outward. The practice traditionally begins with ourselves, then moves to a loved one, then a neutral person, but its most potent stage is when we are instructed to bring to mind a difficult person, an enemy, and extend these same wishes to them, silently, in the sanctuary of your own mind. You hold their image and you offer the phrases, "May you be safe, may you be healthy, may you be happy, may you live with ease." The first time you attempt this, it may feel impossible, even hypocritical. Your mind may rebel. That is perfectly normal. The point is not to force an artificial feeling of love. The point is to plant a single, tiny seed of goodwill in the barren soil of your resentment. It is to recognize, on a deep level, that their harmful actions stem from their own suffering, and to wish them freedom from that suffering. This practice is, ultimately, a gift you give to yourself. It is the key that unlocks the prison of your own bitterness, freeing you from the exhausting work of hating someone else. Here we must make a crucial distinction, one that protects this practice from becoming a form of self-harm. To be grateful for the lesson is not to condone the action. You can be profoundly grateful for the resilience you built after a betrayal, without ever being grateful for the betrayal itself. You can appreciate the self-respect you learned from leaving a toxic relationship, without ever endorsing the toxic behavior. We do not thank the fire for burning us. We thank the experience for teaching us about the nature of fire, and for the strength we discovered in our own healing. There is a famous Zen story that illustrates this perfectly. Two monks, one senior and one junior, were traveling together and came upon a wide, muddy river. A young woman in fine clothes stood at the bank, unable to cross without soiling her garments. Without a word, the senior monk picked her up, carried her across the river, and set her down on the other side. The monks continued their journey. Hours passed in silence, but the junior monk was fuming. Finally, he could contain himself no longer and burst out, "Brother, how could you do that? We are monks. We are forbidden from touching a woman. And yet you picked her up and carried her in your arms." The senior monk looked at his companion with a gentle smile. "Brother," he said, "I left the woman by the riverbank hours ago. Are you still carrying her? The difficult people in our lives are that woman at the river. The event happens, and then it is over. The true source of our suffering is not the event itself, but the fact that we continue to carry them in our minds for hours, days, years, replaying the scene, stewing in our judgment and resentment. The ultimate lesson the difficult teacher offers us is the lesson of learning how to put them down, to be grateful for the encounter, for the lesson it contained, and then to leave them by the riverbank and walk on, free and unburdened. Having practiced this profound liberation from the ghosts of our relationships, we can now turn to an even more subtle challenge: our relationship with time itself, with the ghosts of our own past and the phantoms of our own future. Having learned to put down the heavy burden of our resentments toward others, we now turn to two even more subtle and pervasive ghosts that we carry: the ghost of the past and the phantom of the future. The human mind is a natural time traveler. In an instant, it can transport us back decades to a childhood memory, or propel us forward into a meticulously planned scenario for next week. This ability is a source of our creativity and intelligence, but it is also the source of our deepest anxieties. We become lost in time, haunted by what has been and terrified of what might be. And in doing so, we become completely absent from the only time that is ever real, the present moment. The practice of gratitude offers us a way to heal our relationship with time itself, transforming the two sources of our greatest suffering into two wings that allow the heart to find its balance and soar. Let us first turn to face the past. For many of us, the past is a heavy cloak we wear, woven from two different threads of suffering. The first thread is regret. The mind becomes a courtroom where we are both the prosecutor and the accused, endlessly replaying our mistakes, our failures, our moments of weakness. We are trapped in the torment of, if only I had said that differently, if only I had taken that other path, if only I had been stronger, wiser, better. This backward-looking gaze drains the life out of the present, keeping us chained to a history that cannot be changed. The second thread is its opposite, nostalgia. This is a more subtle trap, a bittersweet longing for past glories, for a time when we believe things were better, when we felt happier or more alive. We cling to these golden memories, believing the best is behind us. And this too prevents us from embracing the richness of the life that is available to us right now. Gratitude is the healing balm for both of these conditions. To apply gratitude to the past is not to engage in a fantasy that everything was perfect. It is not to deny the pain, the injustice, or the sorrow. It is a far more mature and courageous act. It is the practice of looking back from the vantage point of where you stand today and recognizing that every single thread, the dark and the light, the joyful and the painful, was absolutely necessary to weave the tapestry of the person you have become. It is to look upon your past failures and say, "Thank you for teaching me humility. Thank you for showing me what doesn't work. Thank you for making me resilient." It is to look upon your moments of heartbreak and say, "Thank you for carving out a greater capacity for compassion in my heart. Thank you for teaching me the true meaning of love." It is to look upon your successes and joys and say, "Thank you for showing me what is possible, for giving me moments of light to guide me." This is not about changing the facts of your history. It is about changing your relationship to them. You cease to be the victim of your past and become its grateful student. Every experience becomes a lesson, every memory a teacher. With the wing of the past now healed, we turn to face the other direction, the vast, unknown territory of the future. For the anxious mind, the future is a landscape of fear. It is a place where the hungry ghost projects all its insecurities and desires. The mind runs endless simulations, trying to anticipate every possible problem, control every variable, and guarantee a safe and happy outcome. This constant mental planning, this desperate need for control, is utterly exhausting. It is like trying to nail the river to the ground. It is a fundamental resistance to the nature of life, which is inherently uncertain and unpredictable. This anxiety about the future is the root of so much of our sleeplessness and disquiet. Therefore, I can trust in my own ability to meet whatever the future may bring. This trust is a form of gratitude extended forward in time. It is a quiet thank you for the unwritten pages of your life, a trust in the potential that lies within them, and a faith in your own resilience. It is a profound release of the impossible burden of control. You let go of the need to know, and you open yourself to the gift of surprise, they exclaimed. The farmer calmly replied, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows," the next day. The farmer's son was trying to tame one of the wild horses when he was thrown off and broke his leg. The neighbors came to offer their sympathy. "How awful! What truly bad luck," they said. The old farmer just shrugged. "Good luck, bad luck, who knows." A few weeks later, the emperor's army came to the village, conscripting every able-bodied young man for a war they would likely not survive. When they saw the farmer's son with his broken leg, they passed him by. The neighbors gathered again. "You are so fortunate. What incredible good luck," they cried. The farmer, looking out at his fields, said once more, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows?" This story teaches us the folly of our own minds.